everyone, Masha here, and I'm coming to you today from beautiful Yuyuan Gardens here in the huge city of Shanghai. This is my second update on my China trip, and this video will be featuring my tea travels and tea exploration here in China. But of course, one of the lessons that I have learned during my trip is that Zen and tea have one flavor. From temple to temple, as we went from temple to temple, as we went from monastery to monastery, this lesson has been repeated again and again, that tea and Zen are one flavor. And as I'm sipping the most wonderful organic green tea from this beautiful Qin dynasty old cup, please let me take you with me on my journey through Hangzhou and Anji and Yixing, that I was so grateful and so privileged to go on my tea journey this year. The tea leg of my journey started in Huzhou, where we stayed on top of a tea mountain among the bamboo forest. And this was the room where we had our first tea ceremony for the trip. A beautiful room, part of the place we stayed at. In the morning I woke up to that stunning view. As you see, the view of the organic tea fields from top of the tea mountain, that we were so fortunate and grateful to stay on, to enjoy this beautiful scenery of the China I love. And these tea fields are protected by Master Tsai, who was one of our tea teachers on the trip. He is from Taiwan, and he is an amazing man who teaches about tea and protects and encourages farmers to go organic. Being a tea enthusiast, of course, one of the highlights of my trip was the visit to Luyu Museum, built in the architectural style of the Tang dynasty, and it's dedicated to Luyu, the tea sage, the tea saint, who wrote the infamous the classic of tea, or Tea Sutra, the oldest existing text on tea. And while it's not the oldest text that has ever been written, it's the only one that we have. This is a beautiful tea demonstration done on the grounds of this beautiful museum, a Tang Dynasty tribute to Luyu. And on the grounds of this wonderful special place, the museum, Master Tsai served us the purple bamboo shoot tea. And this tea is not made out of bamboo, but it's made of tea leaves, but just named after the bamboo, because the purple bamboo shoots, the bud of the tea is purple, which opens into a green leaf. And this special tea is believed to be written about by the tea sage, by Luyu himself. And we had such a privilege to have this tea on the grounds of Luyu Museum. The most humbling and beautiful experience for me was the visit to this monastery, the temple of one monk who lives there all by himself and maintains the grounds of the temple. And here we again see that relationship between tea and Zen, where this tea was collected and processed by the monk, and we had the most beautiful wild green tea there, so generously shared by this beautiful man, together with the lunch prepared by that lady volunteer, where they shared all they had with us. And here we see the beginnings of the processing of the tea collected from the tea fields that you have seen before in the area where we were staying during that time in China, in Huzhou, around Huzhou area. So you see how beautiful and fresh those leaves are that are about to be processed further and made into the most wonderful green tea. Some of it we were taking with us. Here's some of the processing, some of the shaking done to the leaf. It's always interesting to watch and be a part of the tea journey. Very different from the processing of oolong tea. That was the highlight of my last year's trip. Is put for roasting further in special oven, and this is Master Tsai, who protects those beautiful fields. He just talks about those tea mountains. And for me, of course, nothing can beat the connection to the tea leaf. And picking the tea, walking amongst tea forests and gardens is always a highlight of my trip. This is a group tea ceremony on the roof where our Chinese hosts were so generous to put a little light show for us as well. Their hospitality just never ceases to surprise me. This is another beautiful morning where you can hear the flute is played by a wonderful Trina, a musician from Estonia who was sitting amongst the tea fields in the very early morning playing her music. This amazing tea tree is believed to be 1,000 years old and is considered to be the mother tree, the white tea ancestor. And we had to do a little bit of work, go on a hot hike to get there, but in this place, in this space in Anji, I had the deepest meditative experience together with tea. Yeah, my friends there. This is another little tea session by Master Tsai in the early morning hours while we were waiting for the rest of the group to come. He just sat and shared some beautiful tea with some of us in the Zen place, the Zen-inspired place that we stayed. This is another statue dedicated to the tea sage Luyu. And this is a tea ceremony we had when Buddha, our main teacher, our tea teacher, and Zen teacher shared with us the tea from 800 plus, possibly 1,000-year-old tea plants, which was very special. The energy of the tea ceremony was held by him so strongly and beautifully. We all had a very deep experience. After visiting Anji, tea gardens of Anji, we traveled all the way to Yixing. Yixing is another town, city in China, which is considered to be a teapot city. As you can see, our Henry from Malaysia, another tea master, an amazing man, is using the purple clay teapot to serve us some tea, some beautiful tea. We had 3 different teas there. The first one was the wild red tea, and then we had the yancha that he so generously brought with him, a very, very special tea. And oolong, of course, and this is the demonstration by a teapot master, one of the distinguished teapot masters in the world, using the purple clay. It's the second time when I see this man at work making a teapot. And of course, Yixing clay is quite famous in the tea community. Purple clay teapots are considered the best. Purple clay teapots from Yixing And the one that we got during the trip, I believe, was made from a 40-year-old clay. And there we have it, a beautiful teapot made. And this is of course just a demonstration. It cannot be used as such, and it will be just destroyed to turn back into clay. But these Yixing purple clay teapots are used for gongfu tea ceremonies. Now we are once again visiting the tea fields, where we had another opportunity to pick the fresh tea leaves on a rainy day between the mountain and the lake. We have an Empress card from one of my favorite decks there, and this is the visit to Yixing Museum that has the wonderful collection of the variety of clays. This is the first time when I visited Hangzhou, one of the most beautiful cities in China, a very popular tourist destination among the people who live in Shanghai. Beautiful scenery.
On the autumn night, and when the full moon is right outside.
And here you see the Chinese character for tea, cha. Another museum that we had a chance to visit, another museum dedicated to tea. That was quite amazing to walk through. And here I am about to enter a beautiful tea house where 70-year-old oolong tea was shared with us with the sounds of the rain, which was very special experience. And the tea of that 70-year-old oolong was, of course, something very special. I hope so much that you enjoyed watching this video highlighting some of the beautiful tea places and sharing with you the special tea experiences that I had during my trip to China this year.